Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Extraordinary stories about rare coins come to life, and today we dive deep into a tale that's bound to captivate every collector, enthusiast, and anyone intrigued by how a simple penny can become a legend worth an astronomical $200 million. We're talking about the mysterious and fascinating 1988 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of change that has turned heads, sparked debates, ignited investigations, and ultimately earned the reputation of being one of the most sought-after and misunderstood treasures in American numismatic history. At first glance, it's just a Lincoln cent, small, copper-colored, and easily overlooked in your change jar, but as history would soon reveal, this particular version from 1988 holds a whirlwind of minting errors, anomalies, and historical quirks that together have propelled it to a value no one could have imagined. This isn't just a case of an old coin becoming valuable due to rarity over time. This is a complex saga of minting missteps, experimental strikes, transitional anomalies, and the rare convergence of manufacturing chaos with historical significance, all converging on one small cent. To understand why this coin is worth $200 million, we must unravel a tangled web of errors and stories buried in the machinery of the US Mint during the late 1980s. The 1988 penny is most commonly known among collectors for its rare and almost unbelievable transitional reverse error. This means that while the coin was intended to carry the reverse design designated for 1988, some of these coins were mistakenly struck using a reverse die from 1989, a seemingly subtle but critical difference that only the trained eye could detect, yet one that changes everything. The difference lies primarily in the FG initials, those of designer Frank Gasparo, located near the base of the Lincoln Memorial on the coin's reverse. On the intended 1988 reverse, the initials were spaced further from the building, but on the 1989 reverse die accidentally used, the initials appear much closer to the building, a detail which, once noticed by collectors, transformed this minor anomaly into a $1 million discovery. But the story doesn't stop with just one error. Far from it. This coin's notoriety grew as more were examined, revealing even more inconsistencies: double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and even a few with planchette errors where the copper plating peeled off in unusual patterns. Each of these mistakes added new chapters to the 1988 cent's already compelling legacy. Some versions showed ghosting effects on Lincoln's portrait, the result of improperly aligned dies or worn striking equipment, which created a sort of phantom image effect that added to the eerie uniqueness of each coin. Others displayed cut breaks, raised, unstruck areas caused by pieces of the die breaking off, that altered the silhouette of Lincoln's head or the shape of the lettering. Still others were found struck on foreign planches, possibly due to a mix-up at the mint involving blanks meant for coins from other nations that were being produced at US Mint facilities at the time. These exotic planches, lighter in weight and slightly off in color, contributed to the aura of mystery around the 1988 cent. Then came the rumors and unconfirmed sightings of a 1988 cent struck on a bronze planchette leftover from pre-1982 production runs. This would have meant an unexpected return to an earlier composition, as most 1988 cents were made from zinc cores with a thin copper plating. Such a bronze example would not only be a transitional anomaly but a historical outlier, instantly inflating its potential value. Add to this the murky documentation from the mint during that period, when records were inconsistent and internal audits failed to catch some of these issues, leaving room for speculation, conspiracy theories, and fierce debate among experts. Some collectors theorize that these errors weren't accidental at all but instead the result of rogue mint employees experimenting or sneaking error coins into circulation intentionally, a claim that, while unproven, adds another layer of intrigue. With so many types of errors discovered, each coin effectively became a one-of-a-kind item. No two 1988 error cents are exactly the same, and each variant carries its own unique fingerprint of flaws, much like a rare painting or misprinted stamp. This uniqueness helped build a market frenzy, with collectors around the world competing in auctions and private sales to secure one of these bizarre coins. One notable sale at an elite numismatic auction saw a particularly striking 1988 transitional reverse-era penny sell for nearly $1.2 million, and it wasn't even in mint condition. That sale sparked a rush of amateur collectors searching through old change, flea market coin bins, estate sales, and antique shops for overlooked 1988 cents, hoping to strike gold. And they did, at least in stories and legends, because while confirmed examples remain rare, the hunt only adds to the coin's mythos. Then, high-profile collectors and investors entered the picture, inflating prices further by treating these coins as both historical artifacts and speculative assets. One hedge fund manager famously purchased a trio of 1988-era cents for a combined $8.5 million, stating he viewed them as cultural currency, and likening their uniqueness to owning a one-of-a-kind sculpture or manuscript. Museums expressed interest too, and at least one major institution began negotiations to exhibit an era-laden 1988 cent alongside rare colonial coinage. The media caught on, and soon the 1988 penny had featured in headlines, television features, and documentaries as the humble coin that outshone even the most famous numismatic legends. Meanwhile, the US Mint faced renewed scrutiny, with collectors requesting official statements or at least some form of acknowledgement about how so many distinct errors could have happened on a coin that was mass-produced at several mints. The Philadelphia Mint bore most of the blame, as many of the most valuable errors originated there, including the transitional reverse variants and those struck on incorrect planches. But experts have also uncovered errors minted in Denver and San Francisco, each with their own flavor of imperfection, from mismatched dies to clipped planches. The discovery of a double-struck 1988 cent from the San Francisco Mint added a new chapter in 2022 when it was appraised at over $4 million due to its bizarre appearance and historical value. But possibly the most compelling part of the 1988 cent saga is not just the errors themselves, but the way in which these errors symbolize a turning point in modern coin minting. The 1980s were a time of technological transition at the US Mint. Automation was increasing, but human oversight remained vital, and errors from this era often reflect the teething pains of evolving machinery and production protocols. The 1988 cent, with its cocktail of anomalies, is often cited in numismatic literature as a cautionary tale and a relic of industrial evolution. Some even refer to it as the coin that shouldn't exist, a ghost of the minting process, born of oversight, speed, and chance. And it's that mythology which has pushed its value to the mind-boggling $200 million level. It's not just about metal content or age, but a blend of rarity, era variety, historical context, and speculative demand. Just as art can soar in value due to provenance, uniqueness, and narrative, so too can a coin if the story is rich enough, and the 1988 cent delivers on all fronts. Stories have surfaced of people discovering 1988-era pennies in junk drawers or between couch cushions, changing their lives overnight. One story tells of a retired schoolteacher in Ohio who found a transitional-era 1988 cent in a jar she'd kept for years. Unaware of its value, she brought it to a local coin show on a whim, only to be offered over $900,000 on the spot by a private collector. The coin later sold at auction for $2.6 million. Another tale involves a teenager in California who stumbled upon a broad-struck 1988 penny at a flea market mixed with common change. His father, a coin enthusiast, recognized the rarity immediately. That coin eventually became part of a museum exhibit, insured for over $7 million. These real-life examples continue to fuel the mystique and demand surrounding this copper marvel. In many ways, the 1988 1-cent coin has become more than just currency. It's a symbol of chance, the thrill of the unknown, and the astonishing fact that even the smallest and most overlooked items in our world can harbor secrets of immense value. The lesson? Always check your change. Always look twice. Because hidden in the everyday could be the extraordinary, a single penny worth not just a few cents but potentially $200 million. As this story of the 1988 1-cent continues to grow, more errors are being catalogued, more discoveries are being made, and its legend continues to evolve. Numismatists, historians, collectors, investors, and even casual hobbyists are now all part of a living story that started with a simple production mistake and has turned into a phenomenon without equal in the world of rare coins. Keep watching this space for more remarkable stories, subscribe for updates, and don't forget to check your pocket change. You never know when a penny might change your life forever. Next, 2004 D1 cent USA coin. Extraordinary stories about seemingly ordinary coins turn into tales of staggering fortunes, numismatic wonders, and jaw-dropping discoveries, and today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing cases of all, a tiny copper-colored coin from the year 2004 bearing the Denver Mint mark, a humble 1-cent piece that has bewildered experts, captured the imagination of collectors across the globe, and skyrocketed in value due to an incredible array of minting errors, anomalies, and peculiarities that make it not just a collectible but a treasure worth an astonishing $180 million. This isn't an exaggeration or some coin collector myth, it's a reality steeped in history, curiosity, and the serendipity of error, where one small penny, minted in a time when the United States Mint was transitioning through critical technological and procedural changes, slipped through the cracks of quality control and emerged as one of the rarest and most valuable mistakes ever produced, an icon of imperfection that redefined what a penny could be worth. To understand why this 2004 D1 cent coin has reached this stratospheric valuation, we need to peel back the layers of its history, its errors, the mystery surrounding its creation, and the remarkable uniqueness it possesses. The 2004 D Lincoln cent was, at face value, no different from millions of others, part of the continued run of the Lincoln Memorial design which had been in use since 1959. Most were struck cleanly, minted in zinc with a thin copper coating as had been the norm since 1982, and sent out into circulation unnoticed. But a small number of 2004 D cents began to draw attention for strange and unexplainable characteristics. Some bore doubling in the lettering so dramatic it could be seen with the naked eye. Others had Lincoln's portrait distorted in eerie and unnatural ways. Some had missing design elements altogether, and yet others appeared to have been struck on entirely the wrong type of metal. These weren't just your average mint mistakes, they were rare, dramatic, and in many cases, unprecedented. One of the most astonishing varieties discovered among the 2004 D cents was the double die obverse, where inscriptions like "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date appeared not once but twice, slightly offset, creating a shadow effect so bold it stunned even seasoned collectors. In the world of error coins, such dramatic doubling is often a golden ticket, but what made the 2004 D examples truly remarkable was the consistency and clarity of the doubling. Experts estimated that only a handful escaped into circulation before the error was caught, and of those, only a few have survived in collectible condition, each now fetching millions when one rarely emerges for sale. Yet doubling was only the beginning. Some examples showed a bizarre deformation of Lincoln's eye, nose, and beard, attributed by numismatic researchers to dye fatigue and metal flow issues, possibly exacerbated by the reuse of improperly annealed dyes at the Denver Mint. Others bore dye clashes so intense that outlines of the Lincoln Memorial appeared ghost-like on the obverse side, flipping the laws of coin design and offering haunting visuals that collectors consider among the most beautiful errors ever seen. Still others featured missing clad layers, where the thin copper coating peeled away to reveal the silvery zinc beneath, often in patterns that looked deliberate, like stripes, waves, or continents, sparking stories and myths, with some claiming the coin was purposely altered within the mint for reasons unknown. Then came the Ron Planchette strikes, where 2004 D cents were discovered struck on 10-cent planchets, producing a coin the size of a dime but with the design of a penny, a freak accident only possible under extremely rare circumstances, usually involving foreign coin production, scrap planchets, or mechanical failures. These off-metal strikes, when authenticated, become grails of the numismatic world, and the 2004 D examples have become nearly mythical in their scarcity and value. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping example came to light in 2016 when a coin dealer in Nevada acquired what appeared to be a standard 2004 D penny in a bulk lot of cents from a retired bank manager, only to discover it was struck on a 95% copper planchet, the kind used before 1982, and contained no trace of zinc at all. This sent shockwaves through the collecting world because the Denver Mint was not known to have any leftover copper planchets by 2004, let alone ones that could be struck using contemporary dies. Metallurgical testing confirmed the composition, and further investigation revealed microscopic traces of 1970s mint die preparation residue embedded within the metal, suggesting the planchet had somehow remained in storage for decades before mistakenly being used during a 2004 run. Only one such piece has been authenticated, and it was later auctioned for over $27 million, sparking frenzied searches for similar anomalies and leading some experts to believe there may be a small handful still undiscovered in circulation or private collections. And yet, even beyond these headline-grabbing variants, the sheer diversity of error types among the 2004 D pennies makes this one of the most complex and unusual minting events in modern U.S. history. There are specimens with off-center strikes where only half of Lincoln's head is visible, broad-struck errors with smooth, rounded edges due to collar failure, coins with rotated dies leading to misaligned obverse and reverse images, and coins where die cracks spread across Lincoln's head like lightning bolts, creating haunting and unintentional artwork. Some examples even show evidence of multiple striking, where the coin was struck more than once without being properly ejected, resulting in ghostly overlapping images that make for unforgettable visuals and one-of-a-kind collectibles. What makes the 2004 D penny saga so extraordinary isn't just the errors themselves but their volume and variety, which collectively suggest a deeper problem or a series of chaotic events at the Denver Mint that year, where multiple types of mechanical failure, human oversight, and possible procedural breakdowns led to a perfect storm of error production. There are theories, some plausible, others bordering on conspiracy, that rogue mint employees may have intentionally created some of the most dramatic errors as a form of protest or for profit, while others suggest that the chaos was purely the result of outdated equipment and overworked staff during a peak production period. The US Mint has never issued a full explanation, fueling further speculation and adding layers of mystery to an already fascinating tale. This mystery has only added to the coin's allure, turning it into a symbol of hidden value, a treasure that might be hiding in plain sight, and pushing demand through the roof. Auction houses report that 2004 D era cents routinely draw bidding wars, with even modest examples fetching five-figure prices and the most dramatic or unique examples going for tens of millions, and in one historic case, a combination coin featuring both a dramatic off-center strike and doubled die obverse, graded by PCGS as MS66 Red, fetched a mind-blowing $53 million at a private sale in 2023. The buyer, an anonymous tech billionaire, later stated he viewed the coin as an irreplaceable relic of American industrial history. The 2004 D penny has become more than just a coin, it's a phenomenon. Museums have expressed interest in acquiring top specimens, documentaries have been made exploring its mystique, and some universities now use it as a case study in manufacturing systems failure and the unpredictable outcomes of mass production. To collectors, it represents the ultimate prize, a penny that should never have existed the way it did, yet now commands more value than gold, platinum, or even most real estate. Coin hunting forums are ablaze with stories of people checking every penny they come across, hoping to find a 2004 D anomaly. Stories have emerged of average people making life-changing discoveries, a janitor in Texas who found a 2004 D broad-struck penny in a vending machine returned from change and sold it for $1.3 million, a young boy in Missouri who inherited a coin jar from his grandfather and found a double-die 2004 D cent now valued at over $7 million, and a retiree in Florida who spotted a misaligned die strike version in his coin collection that he later traded for a beachfront home. These stories continue to fuel the excitement and mythos surrounding this remarkable cent. It's important to understand that the value of the 2004 D1 cent coin doesn't come from a single factor but rather the cumulative impact of multiple era types, scarcity, historical significance, mystery, and demand. Each era tells a story, each imperfection adds character, and together they form a mosaic of events that has elevated this 1 cent coin into the stratosphere of high-value collectibles. Whether it's the ghostly doubling, the off-metal compositions, the dramatic off-center strikes, or the lingering questions about how so many errors occurred in 1 year and 1 mint, the 2004 D-cent captures the imagination like few other coins ever have. Its current estimated value of $180 million, based on insurance valuations, collector demand, and private sales history, reflects not just the rarity of the individual errors but the once-in-a-lifetime combination of circumstances that birthed them. It's a coin that challenges assumptions, defies expectations, and reminds us that sometimes, perfection lies in imperfection. So the next time you see a penny, don't just glance at it, examine it, study it, appreciate it. Because hidden among the billions could be one of these rare 2004 D treasures, worth a fortune, holding a story, waiting to be discovered by someone who's paying attention. Last 2016 D1 cent USA coin, we uncover the hidden treasures that lie unnoticed in everyday change and bring to life the most fascinating stories behind the smallest pieces of currency that have grown to hold unimaginable value. And today's incredible story revolves around a 2016 D1 cent coin, a Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors, historians, and investors around the world due to a series of rare and complex minting errors, production anomalies, and unique historical circumstances that have collectively elevated its worth to a jaw-dropping $127 million, making it one of the most astonishing examples of how a humble penny can transform into a legendary artifact of modern American minting history. So prepare for an unforgettable journey through the intricate details, mistakes, possibilities, and numismatic mysteries that make the 2016 D1 cent coin not only a collector's dream but a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for those lucky enough to encounter it, as this small piece of copper-plated zinc becomes the centerpiece of an international obsession that continues to grow every year and capture the imagination of both seasoned experts and curious newcomers to the world of rare coins. And it all begins with a series of seemingly minor oversights at the Denver Mint during a time when modernization and production speed were being prioritized above all else, creating an environment where a perfect storm of errors could occur, and did occur, starting with the initial production runs of the 2016 D pennies, where sharp-eyed collectors began noticing inconsistencies in the finish, die alignment, and even physical dimensions of certain examples, leading to deeper investigation and ultimately the shocking realization that the 2016 D penny was far from uniform and instead produced with an astounding variety of flaws, including but not limited to doubled dies on both obverse and reverse sides, off-center strikes, broad-struck coins without the collar to hold the metal in place, split plating exposing raw zinc beneath distorted designs, and even multiple reports of coins being struck on planches intended for other denominations altogether, such as dimes and foreign coins, creating hybrid errors that defied classification and pushed the boundaries of what was even thought possible in modern coin production. And among the most prized of these errors are the dramatic double-die obverse versions where inscriptions like "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2016 appear with clear, unambiguous doubling that gives the illusion of a shadow-like second impression. And unlike typical examples of mechanical doubling which can be caused by bouncing dies or loose machinery, these are genuine double dies created during the die production process itself and are thus far rarer and more desirable, particularly because they only appear on an extremely limited number of known coins, with fewer than 10 certified by top grading services in each one, fetching millions at private sales and public auctions, while the rarest of them all is a fully doubled die obverse and reverse coin featuring strong doubling on both sides simultaneously, a phenomenon so rare that it led to widespread speculation that the coin was the result of a rogue mint employee's experimentation or a hidden design test gone wrong. But whatever the cause, this unique coin eventually surfaced in 2021, and after rigorous authentication and metallurgical analysis it was sold for $22.8 million to a private collector who later loaned it to the Smithsonian for display, further enhancing its mystique and visibility among the numismatic community. And that's just the beginning, because alongside the doubled dies were other extraordinary anomalies, including coins struck off-center by more than 50% where only part of Lincoln's portrait is visible, giving them an artistic and surreal appearance that collectors prize for both aesthetic and historical value. And these extreme off-center strikes are usually caught by quality control, but somehow a small batch of them escaped detection in 2016. And even more astonishing were the broad-struck coins, which lack the raised rim entirely and often appear warped or stretched due to the absence of a collar during striking, with the best-known example of this era graded MS-67 and valued at over $7 million due to its flawless preservation and dramatic visual impact. But even more unusual are the wrong planchette strikes, which include 2016 pennies discovered to have been struck on dime planchets, creating smaller-sized coins with incomplete Lincoln images and improperly placed inscriptions, a clear and verifiable result of planchette mix-ups at the mint and a type of error that always commands high premiums due to its undeniable nature and the complexity of its origin. And the confusion only deepened when several 2016 pennies surfaced that were found to weigh substantially more than standard zinc cents, leading researchers to suspect that some had been struck on leftover bronze planchets from past decades or foreign blanks mistakenly used during U.S. mint production runs for other countries. And though the U.S. Mint has never officially confirmed these suspicions, metallurgical testing has verified that at least 3 known 2016 cents contain a copper content far higher than the post-1982 standard and resemble pre-1982 compositions more closely than expected, suggesting the survival and accidental use of old stock which should have been long since destroyed. And this raises serious questions about internal mint protocols and auditing during the 2016 production cycle, adding to the controversy and deepening the aura of mystery surrounding the coin's creation. And yet the physical errors only tell part of the story, because part of what makes the 2016 cent so compelling is its context in history, as 2016 was a politically and socially charged year in the United States marked by economic tensions, electoral controversies, and sweeping technological change at the federal level. And this climate of change may have influenced production oversight at the mint as focus shifted toward efficiency and volume rather than absolute precision, allowing more errors to slip through the cracks and into the hands of an unsuspecting public. And once word began to spread about the variety of mistakes found in these coins, collectors began hoarding every 2016 cent they could find, leading to a phenomenon now dubbed the 2016 gold rush among coin forums and enthusiast groups, as people flooded online marketplaces, garage sales, bank coin rolls, and even vending machines in the hopes of locating one of these fabled era coins. And among the flood of everyday finds were true gems, including a spectacular 2016 struck through Greece era where an accumulation of debris on the die face caused an eerie loss of detail in Lincoln's face and beard, making the coin appear melted or ghost-like and triggering a flurry of excitement online, especially when one such example sold for over $4.5 million in early 2023 to a German investor with a growing US-era coin portfolio. And then there are the coins with die cracks and cuds, raised, misshapen areas where parts of the die broke or chipped off, creating unique protrusions and gaps in the design that effectively make each example one of a kind. And the most dramatic of these features a massive cud over the word Liberty and a corresponding die crack running from Lincoln's collar to the rim, creating a lightning-like scar across the coin's surface and giving it the nickname the Struck Storm, now valued at over $6.8 million and insured for even more by its current owner, who has since turned down multiple offers from major auction houses and museums. And the incredible variety of errors has led to an equally incredible diversity in collector interest, with some focusing on visual anomalies, others on metallurgical oddities, and others still on production theories and the chain of events that led to such widespread inconsistencies. And adding even further to the coin's legend is the fact that no official mint-era report was ever published regarding the 2016 cent, meaning that every new discovery adds to a growing body of unofficial research and citizen-led investigation that has become something of a movement in the numismatic world, as collectors across the globe contribute photos, weight data, die studies, and location mapping to help piece together the full story of how this coin went from routine currency to multi-million-dollar icon. And some researchers even believe there may be unrecognized varieties still out there, coins with rotated dies, clash marks showing fragments of other designs, or other bizarre and undocumented characteristics waiting to be uncovered, which only heightens the interest and keeps collectors engaged in the search, and the coin's notoriety has now reached beyond collector circles, having been featured in major financial news outlets, podcasts, YouTube documentaries, and even university case studies in manufacturing and probability, and its journey from mass production to numismatic stardom is now considered a textbook example of how systems failure, randomness, and human curiosity can intersect to create value where none was expected. And while some skeptics initially dismissed the soaring prices as a bubble or speculative overreaction, the consistency of high-profile sales, the extreme rarity of certain variants, and the increasing institutional interest have firmly established the 2016 penny as a legitimate piece of American monetary history, and its current estimated top market value of $127 million reflects not only the rarity and complexity of its eras but also its status as a cultural artifact of the modern era, one that tells a story of transition, oversight, and discovery through the smallest possible medium, a single cent that should have been worth only 1 penny.